Happy New Year and welcome to LuminAxis Scripture Plus Strategy session. It is the beginning of a new year, which means we need to start this year's Scripture Plus Strategy session with a bang. And that's exactly what we're doing. Today we're talking about a very popular scripture, Isaiah chapter 40 and the verses 28 to 31. And we're talking from an interesting subject or perspective of it. Our title today is Why Some Soar, Some Run, and Others Just Walk. Why some soar, some run, and others just walk. We take our scripture from Isaiah chapter 40, the verses 28 to 31. I'll be reading from the King James Version. It says, Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainted not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. The prophet goes on to say that he giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. He says, even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Now, this is the year 2026, and I'm sure a lot of you have been planning and putting things together and in perspective for the new year. You have been praying for strength, for revelation, for insight into the year so that the year can yield its best, so that you can be successful in this new year. And I feel like this is a very profound scripture that can align us, especially as we begin this year. Here the prophet says something very interesting. He starts by saying that God gives strength to the weary, right? He gives strength to the weak. And then he goes on to say that those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. I'm guessing a lot of you have started your 21 days or 40 days fasting into the new year. You are waiting on the Lord, and there is a promise attached to waiting that if you wait on the Lord, you will renew your strength. But what happens next is very interesting. The prophet goes on to say that they shall mount up with wings as eagles, semicolon. They shall run and not be weary, semicolon. They shall walk and not faint, period. And you ever study the English language, you realize that anytime a semicolon is introduced, it is talking about something that is linked but distinct. So here, the semicolons, it's not just random punctuation. It is separation. It is showing that there are distinct expressions of the same thing, strength. Mind you, he says, they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. Then he goes on to separate what that strength looks like. So everyone receives the same strength, yet it produces three different outcomes. Some soar, some run, others walk. Now, this passage doesn't describe three different groups of people, right? It's describing three expressions of the same strength. Now, if you look a little closely, you actually realize that the progression is actually decreasing in intensity. So what I take from this is the ideal expression of strength is to soar, but not everyone gets there. God gives equal strength, but unequal yield. I take that again. God gives equal strength, but unequal yield. So I'm pretty sure you're asking yourself, and you're probably asking me, why? What makes some people soar, while others only manage to run or to walk? Well, I'm glad you asked, and that's exactly what we're going to get into in this session. And as we typically do in most of our sessions, we like to break it down into pieces just so it's easy for us to understand and to absorb. So let's talk about this in three pieces. So one is the soarer, right? The one who soars. What makes them soar? Now, those who mount up with wings as eagles are not necessarily the strongest or the fastest, right? They are more yielded. So eagles soar not because they flap their wings harder, but because they've learned to catch the wind. They position themselves where the air current carries them and keeps them lifted. Now, in life, that's vision, that's strategy, that's surrender. You soar when your strength is guided by revelation. When you are no longer fighting to make things happen, when you're no longer striving to make things happen, but you are letting divine direction do the heavy lifting. So the principle here is this. Soaring happens when strength meets spirit-led strategy. Soaring happens when strength meets spirit-led strategy. Number 2, the runner. The runner. Isaiah said, they shall run and not be weary. So while some are soaring, others are running. And running isn't failure. It's progress, right? But it's progress through effort. You're moving fast, but you are still on the ground. You are still using God's strength. You are using divine strength, but you're pushing forward through obstacles, through friction, through deadlines, distractions, all of that. This is where many people stay. They're productive, but they're grounded. They're building, they're moving, they're even succeeding, yet they're relying mostly on effort instead of lift. Running is good, but it's limited. You're using divine energy to sustain human momentum. You're using divine energy to sustain human momentum instead of relying on supernatural acceleration. Listen, running shows diligence, but without divine elevation, you will eventually tire from carrying what grace was meant to lift. I take it again. Running shows that you're diligent, but if you're not careful, you will eventually get tired of carrying what grace was meant to lift. Let's move on to our third piece, which is the walking man. I term it the walking man. Isaiah says, they shall walk and not faint. Walking is honorable. At least you are not stagnant. In many cases, it means you're surviving. It means you're still standing, you're still moving, you're still believing. And there are seasons in your life where walking is all that God requires of you, when the goal is not speed, but stamina. Yet, if walking becomes your norm, you risk living below your potential. You'll be surviving when you were designed to soar. You'll be surviving when the strength that you got, the strength that you received, was meant for you to soar. The danger here is not failure. The danger is settling. See, endurance keeps you in the race, but revelation propels you beyond it. This is how I like to interpret it. Walking is what strength looks like when faith is faithful, but not visionary. I take that again. Walking is what strength looks like when faith is faithful, but not visionary. So when you ask the question, why do some people soar when others only manage to run or to walk? The answer is simple, because vision and strategy govern utilization. See, everyone receives the same strength, but not everyone knows what to do with it. In this new year, everyone has received a fresh start. Everyone has received strength. Everyone has received a boost, a renewed vigor, renewed sense of purpose. But not everyone will know what to do with it. Some will soar, some will run, others would walk. My question is, what would you do? See, strength is neutral until strategy gives it purpose. Strategy is what gives strength purpose. So you can say it like this, that strength without strategy will lead to strain. Typically in these sessions, I like to ask you some questions, but today, at the beginning of a new year, I want you to ask yourself some questions. First question is this: am I running in seasons when God is trying to make me soar? Number 2, am I walking faithfully when I could be moving strategically? Number 3, have I confused activity with altitude? Because sometimes God is not just giving you new strength. Sometimes He's inviting you to use your renewed strength differently. And in this year, 2026, how will you use your renewed strength? Over the years, maybe you have walked, maybe there are years where you run, but could this be the year where you utilize the strength that you have received to soar. This has been LuminAxis Scripture Plus Strategy. I hope this has been extremely helpful to you. Let us know in the comment section how this resonated with you, which part of this spoke to you the most. And let us know how you have interpreted this scripture in the past, because I know this is a very popular scripture. And let us know if this is something that you did not think about when you read this scripture. You typically read it all together as a bulk, as one line. But if this introduces a new perspective into how you think about this. And this is exactly what LuminAxis app is meant to do. So if you have not tried it, check out the link in the description. It will lead you directly to the app. LuminAxis is a spiritual intelligence app designed for daily life. It takes scripture and gives you the strategy behind it so that it can propel you to move to your next level in your decision making, especially in 2026, where you don't just have to move, but you have to move strategically. Happy New Year. God bless you, and we'll see you on the inside.